Alright guys, how y'all doing? I'm the Dark Side Gamer, and this is a review of Resident Evil 3 Remake and what I think about the game as a whole. You know, what I thought about it and stuff like that. So it's going to be quite long. Might be long. Alright guys, so okay, I'll go back to last year. Go back to January 2019 when Resident Evil 2 Remake first came along. I would never have thought that there would be a remake for Resident Evil 2. It was like a dream come true. You know, like I'd always said for years. I think many gamers have said for years that you know, they wanted a remake of Resident Evil 2, the original, because let's face it, it's one of the best ones in the series. And you know, if you'd said to me like 5 or 6 years ago that that was going to happen, I would have said you were joking. I would say it was a joke. But they announced it in 2018, and it came along in January of 2019, and we got Resident Evil 2 Remake. And just over a year later, guys, we get this game, and I think that Capcom were probably making the third game along with the second game all along. It was always going to be, it was always going to show up, it was always going to be here. So the game, guys, okay, so the game was short. It was a short game. It took me 6 hours 30 odd minutes to complete the game. I actually said 13 hours, but the reason I said 13 hours, guys, was because that was my playtime. If you look at the playtime there, it says 13 hours 36, so I didn't realise that I hadn't played it that long. I actually completed the game in 6.5 hours. But yeah, so there's a few things I'm going to first off, I'm going to go for the positives of the game, and then I'm going to go for the negatives. First off, the positives about the game is that the graphics are awesome. The graphics are cool. I love the graphics. I think the graphics are a little bit more sharper than Resident Evil 2 Remake. I think they were quite on point with them. They were quite lifelike, very lifelike looking. I did like the various weapons and stuff again this time round. I thought the grenade launcher was better in this game than it was in the second one. In the second one, it seemed to be a bit weird looking, whereas in this one, it seemed to have more of a Resident Evil 1 look to it. So yeah, I think that was like a big plus. There was also a brand new kind of grenade as well, which was awesome. I like the dodge mechanic. I think the dodge mechanic works pretty well. That's pretty good. The music is awesome in this game. It kind of like goes back to the original game. It's like a remix of the music from the original game, so we don't have to have the music from the original game in here as like a, you know, like an optional thing. You go into the police station, and the save room has Resident Evil 2's music as well. If you for those people that picked that up, I picked that up. I actually heard that. What else is it to say that's good about this game? Nemesis was cool. I liked Nemesis, to be fair. I thought he was actually alright. I wasn't so keen on the stars of him, the way he says stars, but it's not exactly the same as the original, but I guess they couldn't have some crazy voice like that again. But I think he was relentless. He was way better than Mr. X, and then he just turns into a crazy monster. You know, Alien Queen. It looks like the Alien Queen from Aliens so much at the end as well. Yeah, there's a few spoilers in this video, guys, so if you haven't completed the game, don't watch this video. The voice acting was cool. I thought Nikolai was a good villain as well. Jill looked awesome. Carlos was a bit goofy, I thought. His hairstyle didn't look right for me. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the positives. The negatives. Okay, alright, okay, the negatives. The negatives. Alright, so there was a lot of things missed out in this game. The clock tower, they could have put in an entire section of the clock tower. I think it was completely missing out of the game. You never went into the police station with Jill, which was again a bad call. They should have just put that in. I know that you went in with Carlos, but it wasn't the same, and you weren't in the police station for very long. They missed out the zoo and the park and all that lot. They missed out the worm, you know, the gulp worm in the park. They missed out the dead factory, and they replaced it with Nest 2. We had Nest 1 in Resident Evil 2, so they had to have Nest 2 in this one. It wasn't all that great, really. I didn't really like the lab area. I thought the game started to peter out at the end. It wasn't all that great. The final boss was cool, and the boss battle was cool, but it just seemed to die off really, like, near the end as you got into Nest 2, and I just didn't like the fact that they omitted. You know, they missed out a lot of things here. Brad doesn't die by Nemesis's hand. He dies by getting killed by zombies, I assume. Nikolai doesn't die by Nemesis's hand either, like he did in the original. He just dies in the explosion. You know, there's so many things that are missing. Barry wasn't in this game, and that's just ridiculous. Barry was in Resident Evil 3, he appeared in it, he rescued Jill, but they've completely taken that out of this one. And Carlos flies the helicopter, so... the enemies, guys, again, it takes too many bullets to put down zombies. I thought that's just ridiculous. Bullet sponges again, especially it would be even worse on hardcore mode, I can imagine. You know, it's just one of those things, isn't it? That they just, you know, the enemies are just, some of the enemies are just so OP. They're just so OP. I don't understand that. Blue herbs is missing from the game, guys. I don't know why. Blue herbs are missing from the game, so you couldn't have like a poison. There was hardly any poisonous enemies. There was only the one poisonous enemy with the one that puts the parasite inside you. Again, wow, really? And then the puzzles, guys. There's only 2 puzzles in this game. 2, and that's it. The train one and the virus mixing one. 2 puzzles, Capcom. Wow. You know, I know that newer Resident Evil games don't have many puzzle elements these days, but they could have done a lot better than that. Resident Evil 2 Remake had loads of puzzles. It had way more puzzles than that. That just made the game even shorter for me, and the experience a bit dull and you know, a bit null. It would have been better if I mean, obviously it had the saves, but you figured them out really quickly. They weren't really puzzle type things. The saves were easy to do. But yeah, I think that's my main gripes about it. There's things as well where if you die on a boss battle, you go back all the way back on a checkpoint instead of just like loading it on the boss. I thought that was a bit annoying. But that's pretty much it, guys. That's pretty much all I can really say about it. Like I said, I did think the game was a bit too short, but then again, Resident Evil 3 Original was a short game as well. But the puzzles, guys, it was just, they have to have more puzzles than that. 2 puzzles was just not enough. I think that's everything covered, guys. To be honest, I'm gonna give the game 8 out of 10. If you remember, I give Resident Evil 2 Remake 9 out of 10. I thought it was a much better game. Resident Evil 2 Remake is a better game than this one, only just. Now for Capcom, I hope that they make Resident Evil Code Veronica Remake, but we hear that we're going to make Resident Evil 4 Remake. Dino Crisis, I want a Dino Crisis remake. Let me know underneath in the comments, guys, what kind of game you want Capcom to make next. What do you want to see next from Capcom? And any comments about Resident Evil 3 underneath as well, and stuff like that, about my review is grateful. I'm grateful for that one if you would do that. and drop your support on the video, guys. And thanks all for watching. Thanks all for watching the whole Resident Evil 3 playthrough. I'm sorry that it wasn't live streams at the end because I've been having a lot of internet problems. I was having a lot of internet problems last night. Alright guys, I appreciate you all watching. I'm the Dark Side Gamer. Take care everyone. Peace out.